Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts Vertek and Chibibri are back from their latest adventures.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today we have Frosty Coffee. How are you doing, Frosty?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you guys?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Fantastic.
So, hold on, I'm gonna be shutting off my AC because you can probably hear it, but why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself a little bit? Who are you? What do you do? What's your plans with making content for the community, etc.?
Sounds good. So hopefully you guys can't pick up that noise in the background. But for me, I am a content creator on both YouTube and Twitch. I like to do content from MMOs and RPGs. And for Ashes, recently, you guys may have already seen it, is the Heart of Community video that I did. And that's kind of how you guys noticed me for the first place. But yeah, it's I'm kind of getting into like some preliminary like summary stuff of Ashes of Creation and really entering into the community that way. So.
Nice. And what specific kind of content are you planning on making? Like videoing, streaming, mix?
I'm gonna do pretty much everything from guides, summaries, trying to do anything that maybe more so a little bit more guild related too. For Nexus. I can't wait to do that. But just going through the game, sharing my experience, because of course with Ashes of Creation, it's your own experience. Everyone's taking their experience as their own throughout this game. And I think it's awesome that way. And just being able to share my own experience going through Ashes of Creation and sharing it through both YouTube and Twitch.
Awesome. So if you guys are looking for guides and stuff like that, sounds like Frosty is one of the guys to check out. So keep you guys on update with that and everything. Also, we do have our Discord for the Golden Feather and a area where our content creators, part of the community, can share their work there. So keep an eye out there as well. Yes, hey, welcome in. So today we have Vertek as well, all prettied up for us. Yes, you.
I don't get too pretty. I just shave the hedges off the face.
Just a little, you know.
That's the double-edged sword of working from home. Like, I love it. It's amazing. So much more freedom. I just feel like I can work forever here and not be disgruntled about it as much. But then I just don't feel like shaving my face, because who feels like dragging a razor across, sensitive skin every day? So
I mean, you could have like these scar marks and everything. You'd be ready for battle anytime.
Yeah.
Right? Also, we have Z in our chat. Hello, Z. Welcome. I think we might have missed you last time.
Z.
Hey, Z.
The one, the only Z.
The one, the only Z.
But yeah, so let's see here. So what is your favorite part of Ashes, Frosty? What got you into making Ashes of Creation content?
Oof.
Why Ashes?
Originally, when I first noticed Ashes of Creation, I thought, wow. It blew me away, especially like back 2017, 2018, I think, when I first noticed it. And when I started looking at the videos, I was like, wow, this world is incredible. It blows me away how visually stunning it is. And then when I started to learn, especially like going through the Kickstarter, I learned about how interesting their development and what their core concepts are of the game. And I thought, wow, this is so unique compared to like any MMO that I've really played before. And learning that you have to work as a community, and that's kind of like how I started my first video, is just going around the idea of like community. And it's all about community gathering together, being able to work together to be able to create a massive metropolis is just so entertaining to me and so exciting. So that's really what caught my eye.
Yeah, that I think is the most unique thing I've seen in a game in a while. to be honest.
Exactly.
I just love how it's reactive to exactly how that that block of experience and resources was collected. Like, who did the work?
Yeah.
You're getting recognized by literally the work being in your home country's culture's design.
Yeah.
I say country, but you know what? You know, I always find interesting about the whole, like, we're returning to Vera after being gone for a while. They say everyone went to Sanctus, right?
Yes.
But yet, if the portals are being designated like, hey, all dwarves are supposed to go through this portal, you can choose any as has been cleared up, but this is the default one for dwarves. This is the default one for elves, and so on and so forth. And there's not really much bleeding between the two, like, or between the different races, except for a Tolnar.
Right.
Like, it suggests there is a massive amount of isolation on the old, or on Sanctus as well.
It makes me curious too, like the whole lore aspect of us going into the Sanctus and all that stuff. It makes me wonder, like, how is that going to come about? Are we going to see like a little bit of a prelude to the whole storyline, how we get through the gateway, the divine gateways and all that stuff? So being a lore guy myself, I love learning about that and looking forward to seeing what's actually going to be shown when it's revealed.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited because we still have a little ways to go. There's still a lot more to cover, or uncover rather, before the game launches. Also, I just want to real quick aside, thank you, Crit, so much for the bits. We appreciate that. Also, Woodchip for the resub. That was happening while we were doing the beginning countdown stuff, so thank you so much. Yes, Woodchip, we agree. We hope Frosty continues to grow as well, too. It's nice seeing new content creators coming out of the woodwork. And for example, I think BCG just put out a video as well. So it's just nice to see content pumping out for Ashes, despite the lack of any... I don't want to say any news, because we do definitely have news. It's just not new for those of us that have been in the community for a little while. So it's just nice to see people putting out any sort of content and, you know, questioning other people's contents and stuff like that. But real quick, did you want to say something, Retech?
Oh, I was just gonna say also, like, when it comes to content creators and putting out content, and hey, we're thankful people are doing it for Ashes, is the fact that there really is not much news when compared with a game that is actually out in production and actually pumping out things occurring in the world. So
yeah, exactly.
It still is relatively, compared to other you know, online and active games, it is still relatively no news, like very, very light on news. So yeah, it's big and impactful news when we get it, but it's not much of it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Sorry, I am just trying to grab this thing. There we go. Now I got it. Alrighty. I just wanted to say, it was Steven's birthday recently. And I don't know if you guys can hear...
that John had made for my birthday. Stand by. Maybe you'll recognize.
Happy birthday, Steven. If he's
30
here or if he's watching this later, happy birthday to you.
And a griffin.
Hope you had a good one.
And a little courier back there. And who's that on top? And a little caravan. Pretty awesome cake.
Yeah, I think she was playing a video.
Hey guys, just wanted to show you a really quick video of a really cool cake that John had made for my birthday.
So you can see that on their Twitter.
Maybe you'll recognize some of them.
I think it's super adorable. I'm gonna go ahead and fade that out. Yeah. Oh shoot, you guys don't see it. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
I'm so embarrassed.
I was gonna say, just so you know.
We are the happy birthday gift. No, just
hey guys, just wanted to show you a really quick video of a really cool
I was able to hear something when I unmuted the stream.
Maybe you'll recognize some of the things, starting with a portal and a griffin and a little courier back there. And who's that on top? And a little caravan. Pretty awesome cake.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey guys, just wanted to show you a really quick video of a...
There we go.
Yeah, I love the little fireworks. What do they even call him?
I
With the
forgot, but
fireworks troll guy.
I don't think he remembered either, to be honest.
What
He's
is that up there?
Yeah, what is that up there?
Cut. Yeah, it looks like a Z-made cake.
Yeah. But yeah, we just wanted to say happy birthday, Steven, from the community as well. I saw that Intrepid made you a cute little cake for like happy birthday and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I thought it was really cute.
Yes, happy birthday.
But I don't know if everybody was able to catch it or not, but Steven was able to get onto a stream with Jalon. Sorry, I always say your name wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm working on it. But
Sorry, we're gonna fire her after the show.
There was
okay. We'll have a roll with Vertek and myself, and it'll be all good.
This is introducing the new co-host show.
I've
Phasing
been
her out for
fired.
mispronouncing Jalon too many times.
But
Jalon.
yeah, so he had an interview with Steven, and I'll let Vertek take this one.
Yeah, there were some pretty interesting things. Hold on, I was typing it, but I'm just gonna say it now. Then, hey Diggs, how's it going? Nice to see you today. Yeah, he had a lot of nifty stuff to say on there. I mean, there were a lot of smaller points that were really kind of meh to some people, but really amazing to others. But some of the interesting things that I took down were like the primetime events. It was confirmed that things like castle sieges and such like that are going to occur at different times of the 24-hour cycle, depending on your time zone. It's going to be the exact same time on a clock for each time zone. Like it's going to be for instance, 5 o'clock in this time zone, and then 5 o'clock in that time zone, and then 5 o'clock in that time zone. So it's basically going to be, if you look at it and think about it, one specific event could take place all 24 hours of the day, but it's going to go from one time zone all the way around the world and cycle through to the next. It's going to start in one and then end, and then start in the other and end, etc., etc.
It's kind of nice for the people that are like our European friends, where it's 5 p.m. for us when we started, but like, 3 a.m. midnight.
You know what's even nicer? It's people like me on weird schedules that are like swing shift and grave. I can choose a server that's going to have prime time hours when I get off of work or when I have time in the day. I can choose specifically, like based on my weird schedule, I may be Pacific time, but when I get off of work at midnight or 1 or 2 a.m., that's when I want my prime time to happen. I don't want it to be normal prime time for Pacific because I'm working at that time. I have just started working.
Did they say when or how they're going to determine these time zones?
Yeah, it's going to be by server. So when you go to pick a server, say you pick the Eastern server, it's literally going to be Eastern time zone, and everything is based on the Eastern time zone. So the prime time is going to happen when most quote unquote normal people have the time to go and experience that on the Eastern time zone. So for instance, I would probably end up ideally picking something like maybe Eastern. Because of my weird schedule, I'll probably have more chance of catching it at noon or 2 or 3 o'clock p.m. because it's Eastern servers 5 and 4 and 3 o'clock p.m. when prime time just starts. That'll be right before I go to work, so I can jump on, I can do the thing, I can then go to work, I can get off, and maybe it's still going after that.
That'd be cool. I think Nexus is Eastern, is all I was going to say real quick. Nexus might be Eastern time.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. I like how they're setting it up. They're really thinking about other players like from other time zones. It's a great setup, and not very many MMOs really do that. And it's great to hear that the community is really being thought of for their core functions, and I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Le gasp. I mean, woodchip, that's true, but I'm not going to admit it. We'd have a reasonable discussion. We'll figure these things out.
Well, the direction I was going to go with about the Nexus thing is like, so for example, we are on the West Coast. That's our time zone for where we live. And Nexus is, I think, primarily East Coast. But that would be an interesting conflict of interest, because if you are Vertec and you live on the East Coast with the East Coast people, you may not be able to participate in the East Coast server, because that's during your work time versus being on the West Coast with it working. So it'd be an interesting situation with, like, do I stick with the server where my guild is, or do I find a server that works for my life, like life situation when I would like to do gaming and such like that. So that's an interesting thing to have to think about, and it, to me, it feels like you're delving even more into conscientious server choices. And I think, given a conversation that popped up in our Discord, which we'll be going over later, there's a lot of key factors that should play into which server you end up wanting to play, because they're all going to be different from each other, and the way that the core of the server works could be very different from each other as well. So I'm really enjoying this. This is like a interesting, it's more than just like, oh, this is a PvE random Sisters of Elune World of Warcraft server, I'm just gonna join that. There's actually more to it than that's the first PvE one I heard, and it sounds cute.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little deeper. There's actual impacts to it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Woodchip. We appreciate that. Welcome,
and
Simmered.
Honestly, even beyond there being an impact to which server choice you have, it's more along the lines of you have something impacting your life and you can choose a server based on that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's choose a server that's going to revolve around your time schedule instead of vice versa. Like, hopefully what that'll also help do is one thing I've enjoyed about some games, instead of having like server maintenance all at the same time for all the servers, it's one big drop of all the servers cut off and all the servers update and all the servers whatever, is the games that actually go through and have a rolling restart and rolling maintenance and such. So
yeah, I
for
really
one
enjoyed
thing,
that as well.
you could even pick two completely different servers that are going to be on opposite ends of the spectrum, or at least staggered. So when your main server is down, you can go and like do some crafting stuff on the other, or what have you.
Yeah.
Just to have like random BS times, or even your entire guild could choose to have another guild on another server just to do really goofy things like hogger raids.
Yeah.
Whenever your main server is down. That
Yeah.
way people who are doing content creation, they at least have something to still stream. Instead of, so since we're in maintenance, we're just gonna, I don't even know, because there's not even any patch notes to go over.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're gonna do today, guys. Let's play Fortnite, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, which kind of pulls viewership away from the game, if you think about it. You go from streaming Ashes of Creation to having to pull off because the whole entire server, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the mobile maintenance for Seven Deadly Sins. Like, it's down everywhere. There's not like another thing to play with it. It's just, that's it. Come back in like 2.5 hours if you're awake, and you can continue playing from there. But with streaming and stuff, especially if it's one of those emergency maintenances where it's not planned, it just needs to come down. It's just like, oh well, I don't. What do you guys? Should we do something else? Like,
Yeah. Well, emergency maintenance is one of those things that it may only be one server that gets impacted by that anyway.
Yeah. It just,
that's at least a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like Dig said, hopefully we'll be able to bond with neighbors in town, or in close proximity, because they're on the same time zone. That actually happened specifically with me, and when I was living in Maryland and playing WoW, we ended up having we went to Meetup, meetup.com site, which is like bump into people with similar interests, and I bumped into a big WoW group that was running a guild specifically for people in that area, and we all went out to restaurants and bars and whatnot. Went out to different events like pumpkin patches and such like that to pick pumpkins for families and all that stuff. It was fun times.
Yeah, I agree. I've never experienced that with any of my WoW or any other guild, but there's my dad's guild, so that was cool. But I think it might be really
Hunter
cool.
says boop, and I'm saying he booped you because you were talking.
Hi. So is there anything else you wanted to cover with the conversation?
Oh, man, there's tons. That video was actually pretty thorough. I mean, that's one thing I can say about Jalan is he always picks out like the really good in-depth questions, both what he picks out as well as whatever he sources from the community is always really, really solid. And so it was a really good interview. It covered a lot of stuff, a little bit of variety and everything. And the other thing that really kind of stuck out to me that I liked and may make me want to, really delve into the crafting thing is he was saying that, Stephen was saying that the furniture inside a house, depending on your crafting skills, can actually have functionality to them that may actually help whatever you're producing for your craft. And the example that he gave, well, and for one, like it has to be the furniture that has these benefits is only created with the carpentry skill. So that immediately gives value to the carpentry skill because you're going to be helping all the other crafting skills. And the people who have in-node housing, as well as I'm assuming the furniture might be able to be used on your freehold as well. So you're going to be producing furniture that people can put inside their house to get benefits for their own craft. So that's dandy. But the example he gave about the functionality was if you could have, say, a stove that's made to go inside your house. And when you cook a meal with your cooking skill, normally you're going to get, say, like plus 10 to strength for 3 hours. You could end up getting an oven put in your home that you can recook that food, or he didn't really specify it was recook it or cook it to begin with. But either way, you cook the food and it will have a freshness rating. And the more fresh it is, the more powerful it is, either in actual power or in duration. So it could add like double the strength benefit, or it could add double the time, or something like that. He didn't really specify to what lengths the benefits were, but just the fact that you can stop by your house and prep up food before going to a raid or on an adventure is really dandy.
Yeah, I like how unique that is in a sense, and how just like everything comes together and connects, and being able to use all the systems together just to prepare. It's so in depth, and I really love what Intrepid is doing with all of that, and it just makes me have a nerdgasm over like what they're doing with these systems, and it's so fun to watch. Yeah.
And Crit says great placement of the skins, and I really like, actually, I was going to mention how the little turtle on the beach has the little tree climbing up, and then the phoenix looks like it's like exploding out of the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was new cosmetics that was announced, and I kind of like playing with the scenery like I did last time when I got kind of bored, and I was like, let me just move it like they're actually on here, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep doing that for the new skins. It helps when they have like the watery look beneath them, so it kind of like blends in a little nicer. But it's like the little, when you're a kid, the little like storybook thing,
Yeah, the troll is so small. I should have put the bog monster or the bog creature taking up like that giant pyramid shape up there. Just a giant monster.
Well, it was the pet, so I figured it was small.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably supposed to be that small too, so.
Spencer is cooking for the raid, doesn't get to do anything else due to time constraints, logs back in the next day, and food is moldy. Ugh, yeah, see, that
would suck.
That would suck really badly. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you don't get to go on the raid, I mean, that sucks. But ideally, the cook for the raid is going to be given materials by the guild or by the raid leader to go make the food. So it shouldn't be coming out of your own pocket, at least. But
theoretically.
Yeah. But at least, hey,
go ahead.
You'll have a little bit less effective food to give everybody for running around in dungeons.
Right?
A little bit of benefit out of it.
The fresh, like you could have tiers, like the freshest is for raids, the semi-freshest is for dungeoning, and the meh is for running around and just like, please eat this before it goes bad.
Yeah. I mean, in my ideal world, what'll happen is you'll be able to recook the other food and make it fresh again,
like a microwave.
That way you could at least, exactly, like you install a microwave at your house. There you go, exactly.
Yeah.
And you microwave it back to freshness,
or at least a percentage of freshness, because I mean, Some leftovers taste better reheated. Others are just meh. It tasted better initially.
Quality or go home.
Quality or go home.
Microwave the leftovers. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be, I
interesting.
guess, a good mix between them.
Yeah, could at least up. I was thinking up the percentage by maybe like a tier for the day. You know, remicrowaving it.
Oh, wood chip, that's terrible. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool thing. Regardless, no matter how it works, it'd still be interesting unless the game starts to be balanced around people using that super fresh food with the extra benefits.
Yeah.
But in theory, that probably would happen because you'd almost expect there to be a master cook in every raid.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, especially like for if you're preparing for like a siege or anything like that, and really designating specific foods for like your mages or your melees, things like that, and needing to be very specific with your crafting system for your main crafter. That, yeah, I can't wait to see all that kind of stuff for guilds. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of somewhat controversial stuff, but not really controversial necessarily, the custom images thing he talked about. Interesting. For those who may or may not have bumped into it for some reason or another, Steven's going to be, at this point anyway, planning to allow custom images to be uploaded to the game to, say, make a picture of you and your pet up on the wall in your house.
Immersion. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So you can toss pictures in and you can do whatever basically with them. And I guess from how he is speaking on Jalan's interview, there's not going to be any pre-screening to get it approved. You're just going to be able to add them and place them, but then you get punishment if they're reported or if they're found by a GM or something, kind of on a sliding scale based on how terrible it is.
Yeah, that could be concerning. I mean, if it's uploaded, right, if it's a bad image, right, then it sucks for the people that have seen it, right? And it takes a certain amount of time to be able to screen that and then take it down, kind of thing. So it may be up for a little bit, for who knows how long, right? So
yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest though, like in reality, the only lasting negative impact that could have is when it's stuff that's not meant for children.
Exactly.
Which you could almost say running around as a wizard or a sword fighter and chopping down monsters in the woods is probably not really meant for children either.
Exactly. Like, this is a higher tier, like, obviously made more so for adults. At least that's probably the rating of the game. But yeah, they have to be careful.
PG-13, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, once you're 13, I mean, you find the internet, the things that aren't appropriate for children are going to be found anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By searching things that are totally innocuous. But I mean, outside of that, like, you can't just say like it's going to happen anyway. I mean, there's definitely got to be some protections there. But if it does happen, that's really going to be the only issue. Like anybody else, like, oh my gosh, they posted something in there and it was so offensive because, okay, and the world continued and the person was banned. Like, relax. It's fine.
I mean,
person's not going to be doing it any longer because they're not here anymore. Be happy. Justice was served and it was swift.
Exactly.
Just gotta watch out for those naked fushis. That's all.
Yeah. Nude fushis running around.
We should have plenty of stuff to discuss in social media during downtime. What buildings? Oh, okay, yeah, that's referring. So basically, Dix had mentioned earlier for the maintenance going down. Like, you know, because the servers are different, we are all doing different quests, etc. And right now, he's just elaborating on it due to one of the, I think it was Woodchip asking like for clarification. He goes, "We should have plenty of stuff to discuss in social media during downtime. What buildings and towns started or completed, what caravans are successful or failed, what monsters raided the town, also whether a different race took over when the node popped to the next stage, and we can talk about that stuff for neighboring nodes. Should be able to stick with Ash's storytelling for quite a while during maintenance, kind of thing." So, excuse me. I thought that's just kind of interesting because we were talking about like what do we do when the maintenance goes down if it's not like a rolling situation. And I mean, that is a very good point. The servers are going to be very different. You could talk about, hey, I did this and this was the outcome. And somebody else may have done the same thing, but had a completely different outcome because of the primary race, the primary religion for the area. So many factors playing into. It's like when you play Horizon Zero Dawn or any other RPG game and you select a different option for the RP prompt. You know, it changes the outcome. Yeah. It's very interesting. So yeah, that's a good point. I think we are mainly talking about like the people like us streaming, for example. If we were streaming the Ashes game right now and then it went down for maintenance, what do we necessarily do? Happens to be we're on a podcast, so like that we got that covered. We could just go ahead and chat. But if you're like solo and everybody is in bed because you're West Coast and they're all East Coast and you got nobody to pop in to chat with you, it's just more like, what do I do now? I don't want to stop doing the Ashes stuff aside from like, you know, asking the viewers what they did, etc. But yeah.
You know what? I could actually see, and it's actually a really good thing you bring up there, Diggs. And of course, I think we were talking about it just a little bit earlier, but that I think is going to set apart the good Ashes content creators from the excellent Ashes content creators, is the ability and preparation to speak about things like that. And what I mean by that is, for one, you're going to know when your weekly maintenance is. You're going to know when your monthly maintenance is. You're going to know when the big patches are coming and when the big like download content is coming. Mm-hmm. So those you should be able to prepare for if you're streaming during those times normally, which you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be streaming during those times. You should kind of plan to be on a server where your available time is not during the reset, because that's just a terrible plan. But if you do happen to land on one because of like an emergency or like a, hey, we're going to be doing one off hours because of insert situation, then yeah, you should have something ready to talk about like story stuff and what's different about this and that. And with the emergency things like, hey, we need to do a patch right now because, and it's going to be down for 2 hours. Like, cool, have a video sitting off on the side that you can talk to, your viewers about, hey, the other day I was recording, a dungeon run, but on the way there, this happened. And I noticed that this is something that hasn't been unlocked on other servers. Nobody's talked about this. What is this? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And just have some really interesting things to bring up and discuss. Yeah. That's gonna really separate the good from the excellent.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, I've played other games before too, where you get stuck in a loading screen for whatever reason, and then you're just sitting there, and then you have nothing to do or something like that, right? And then you have to just on the fly. You're just like, if you're on a live stream, for example, you just gotta just talk to your viewers, and that's what viewers want too. Like, they want you to talk with them, right? And really show your personality and all that stuff, and just talk about what's going on with your life, gaming wise, and all that other stuff. So no, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Even if there's not a maintenance, the time that you have to fill, at least having that stuff on the back burner and ready to go at any time is going to give you, if anything goes on, like you just can't log in for whatever reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or just because you're going to be making random content outside of just gameplay on Twitch. You're going to make a YouTube video covering something. Have that stuff literally cover, like, hey, this is what's been happening that I haven't seen anybody else talk about on their server.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be a whole other world of both gaming and content creation when this goes live.
Yeah.
I just like that there's so many things to talk about already.
There really is.
Already.
One thing that I thought was kind of cool, and we've been told this a couple of times, is the free market housing sales stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. The whole idea of realistic, I forgot the word already, but I used it earlier. Real estate, there we go. Where basically you could buy and sell the house, buy it when it's first popped in, maybe put some improvements in it, like expand it a little bit, and then sell it at a much higher value when it's hard to get a house, and just move on to the next node that's being worked on, etc. So that's kind of cool. It's a way to maybe make a bit of gold from that. Definitely an investment. Real estate is an investment.
God. I want to see somebody make a YouTube series called Flip This House. I want to see somebody do a YouTube
like a TV series,
Flip This
just
Freehold or something.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see that now. I want to see somebody going around and that's their purpose, is to buy whatever housing they can inside the towns.
Yeah.
And just upgrade it and try to make a profit on it and just see what happens.
Yeah.
I could see that. And be like the whole home decor stuff and all that. That'd be great.
But like the one of the crafter people, that's all they work on is home decor, and they're like,
Exactly.
interior design for your freehold.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Looking to sell your house? Hire us. We'll help you fix it up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
pretty much. Ashes of Creation, housing flippers.
Will they have shiplap?
Pimp my house, YouTube now. Oh, jeez. But yeah, the endless possibilities. I love it. It's very realistic. Very like, I think that's kind of what they're going for. Very realistic. Very close to real life. Yeah. Even with the whole PvP thing, they'll be flagging to avoid accidental PvP flagging, etc. So like a healer starts casting an AoE heal party, the party member flags for PvP. Healer's spell finishes after they've already flagged, and the same flag will now apply to damage AoE skills. So players will not flag for PvP unless they mean to or don't configure settings correctly. Like, this is something that we ran into in the Alpha 1 testing, where Intrepid did not unflag themselves, and I was trying
I think Steven was flagging everybody as PvP.
Just destroyed everyone.
Yeah, we just kept getting like wiped. But that avoids that whole mess right there, because like, if I'm trying to do whatever and you just happen to be, because it's a combination between action and tab, right? So if I accidentally happen to swing at you right after you tagged for PvP for whatever reason, but we're both fighting a thing, now I'm PvP and now I'm messed up, I'm trying not to mess, but yeah.
Well, Styx, actually, in theory, you could still do freehold selling and buying. You just have to have real trust in the person that you're buying or selling to or from. Because you could literally say, hey, you want this prime property? I'll sell it to you for 100 zillion gold. And they'll say, all right, cool, I'll buy it. Then you just go and like destroy your freehold and let them drop theirs down and hope they give you the money for it.
Yeah, I had that problem on Final Fantasy 14, and one time I got caught on that. And I was like, are you serious?
No, I mean, housing there is like, that's like, oh man.
Yeah.
You're gambling with murder there.
I know, right?
But to shift the conversation a little differently, wanted to bring up the whole Discord conversation about PvP, which is what I kind of tweeted out about earlier. And it was, should PvP, open world PvP specifically, be part of Ashes? Does it fit in lore-wise? Does it make sense for Ashes of Creation to have open world PvP? Specifically, Woodchip brought this question up to us after, as you can see on screen, watching Simberg's podcast yesterday. And yes, basically he was asking, like, why attack a player picking flowers in your node of influence? The node gets credit for any and all progress within the node, which picking flowers technically counts. Also, why would a Kalar attack another Kalar? It makes no sense. We are here for the same purpose, reestablish our foothold as a faction in the world of Vera. And why would a hero attack another player who is traveling anywhere in the world just to grief him, These are very good questions in my opinion, but also, Frosty, you had a pretty interesting answer. You want to go ahead and share?
Talking about like the whole player flagging and stuff like that in the open world, it's interesting because you have your green, your purple, and your red. And I think in Alpha 1 we had that, right? For you guys?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they did have those color codes there, which I thought was very interesting. So the way I was thinking about it is that, I have to kind of go back to what I was saying. But it's overall like being able to go into the whole lore side of things, like it does and doesn't make sense for someone to just, and it goes up to the whole ganking thing and just like randomly attacking a target. And when we come out of the Divine Gateway kind of thing with the whole lore aspect, we were all like working together as a team, as lore wise, in the Sanctus, and then all of a sudden we come out of the Divine Gateway, and we don't know if like they didn't really, I don't think so, they didn't really specify as to if there was any of like that kind of killing or anything like that happening while we were on the other side of the Divine Gateway kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come through, we're suddenly attacking each other. Now that could be like a whole power struggle thing of like, oh, I want to be king of this land and all this stuff. But at the same time, like the way I think about it is if there's like a rare gathering item that person wants to specifically go after, a thing that I could think of is like area PvP, like based on like if that player attacks that person, those two players interact with each other for that PvP, and if someone wants to jump in, they can, only if they accept the PvP action. Like other games have done this for accepting PvP.
Yeah.
But in terms of lore, it's hard to say because people just join into this world and you're like, should we really be killing each other kind of thing, coming back to the world of Vera when previously we don't even know if that even happened or not kind of thing. So it's kind of like up in the air, and it'd be nice if like that was actually lore-wise explained to us as to why is the reason that we have to kill each other for those rare items or gathering pieces or whatever, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. And that's the kind of point that I was going to bring up, because I read all of this right before we went live, because my phone was just going off to the point that I randomly looked over at my phone at one point in which it was like, hey, Free Spirit, what's your Twitch name? Like, it was hecka random, and I was like, wait, what? I'm missing stuff. But, you know,
oh my gosh.
Thank you so much, Woodchip. We appreciate that. There's a lot of people that, you know, popped into the Discord and joined into the conversation, and you know, I just, from the Golden Feathers standpoint, I said this earlier in the Discord, but we really appreciate seeing stuff like this where Sim is talking about something on his podcast and Woodchip has a whole thought about one of the things that was mentioned, and then just like creates a discussion out of it that, you know, everybody jumps in and actually like chats about, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Makinoji says, considering we don't know the social aspects of Sanctus, it's quite possible the races still carry their old prejudices, so it would make sense other races attack each other. Also for Tolnar, they probably have a lot of aggression towards everyone considering their origins, and now their lands are being invaded by these outsiders. And that's a good point too. And hello Simmerg, welcome in. Thank you for hanging out and chatting with us throughout all of this. Yeah, it's just, the other thing is we don't have that much lore out. Steven is holding it tightly to himself and doesn't want to release it because he wants us to experience it, you know?
And that's what sucks, because like he's created so much lore already, which is incredible, and I love it. And it's like we still have so much more to experience.
Yeah, exactly. And like, many times there was a poor Sally who's picking flowers with a cute little kitty at her feet, apparently. And the craziness
Sally was
that
supplying
ensued.
drugs for the mob. That's why she was picking those flowers. They're actually poppies. They're getting my people addicted. Sally needs to be taken out.
The mayhem that ensued after, of all the different things that happened to Sally, or why it might have happened to Sally, was just silly. But feel free to check out our Discord to see it yourself. It's in general chat. But yeah, it's just, I mean, there are tons of non-lore PvP, open world PvP reasons as to why open world PvP makes sense. I'm not sure about lore-wise. Again, we don't really have very much information outside of the gods, who are of different stances. Are you evil or good alignment, etc. So So who knows? Maybe it makes sense for a storyline for maybe an evil god that people are worshiping. One of the quests on that storyline is to go out and PvP with like 5 people and try not to get any corruption, or I don't know, get corruption. Sure, he's evil, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know. But it just, from the non-lore perspective, like if I ran across Sally for whatever reason and she was over there picking poppies or something, and I'm over here trying to farm ingredients, and let's say one of the ingredients I needed for a potion or something, she happened to have collected the last of, and it's the last of the 2 weeks for that season. Because I believe they said seasons were lasting for 2 weeks at a time. So, or is it 1 week? I can't remember. I think it was 1 or 2 weeks that a season lasted. I think the idea was 1 week, so that 1 full month was all of the seasons. Is that, am I remembering this correctly?
Right. I think it was 2 weeks is what they went with.
Okay.
I forget.
But let's say
exactly.
Either way, let's say it's at the end of that season period, and as we are aware from what Steven has told us, as well as some of the other people at Intrepid, as a season goes away, some of the materials that you can get go away as well. They migrate to another area, and maybe I don't know where that area is yet because we just got here, but all I know is she's got the things that I need, and I need to craft the last little bit of, I don't know, let's say armor and potions so that I can go do this raid with my guild, and so like that gives cause for PvP. Now, I'm not really a PvP oriented person, so I would probably, leave her alone if I was farming for something completely different. I have no cause, but I think that's the kind of cool thing that, as Diggs and a few others mentioned, comes out of the different servers that are out there. Like, do we as a server decide to, hey, let's respect that I didn't fight you rule, so if I go to attack you and you don't fight me back, clearly that's an indicator you're not interested in fighting me, so now I'm just going to go find somebody who would be more fun to fight because they'd actually fight back,
Yeah, and honestly, I have both, not really lore because it's not like explained in everything right now, but maybe a in-game world-based reason why open world PvP should exist, and then an out-of-world reason. Yeah. So like in-world reason is, so as Makinoji had said, like, and this is I think something that maybe I didn't mention in the conversation on Discord, but it's just an additional point being that while they were on Sanctus, if they were able to maintain 4 separate core races with 2 separate cultures each, and they're all so very distinctive, none of them really bled together to create something that's kind of like in the middle, then obviously there seems to be some sort of separation between them. And the fact that they went away as one people, each race traveled away to Sanctus as one people, and then developed 2 differing viewpoints over all that time. 2 different, I should say, core viewpoints, because everybody's going to have obviously a little bit of variance. But yeah, they come back to this planet, and they're all going to have their own separate ideas on how returning to the home world should go, and how the process should happen. Yeah, I mean, some are more interested in art and fairness and culture, strength, and others are more about like the strength of might and the strength of exploration and dominance and power, and others are like, hey, I just want to chill and hang out, kick it on the beach. And others are like, no, hard work and dedication to family and the empire. So there's going to be many conflicting different viewpoints. So in-game world, I mean, there's that. Nobody's necessarily evil or bad for causing a fight or causing some conflict. It's just they're all going to have their own reasons. Now, an out-of-game reason is, think back on every good story you've ever heard. Like, good story. You even limit it down to in a video game. The lasting stories that people have are never, hey, remember that one time where we went out and we didn't expect to do anything exciting and all we did was prance through the grass fields and we picked berries and nothing unexpected happened at all? Yeah, that was a great time. Nobody ever says that. But what people do say is things based around, like, there's the masks of comedy and tragedy, right? Or comedy and drama, I forget. Comedy and tragedy, we'll just call it. Like, that's the symbol for theater, for the great remembered occurrences like that are written down in stories that stick in people's minds. They're all based on the major struggles and failures. Even comedy is all based on failures. Think of the funniest jokes you can possibly imagine, and I guarantee you they're all at somebody else's expense, or even your own expense. Either way, they're at somebody's expense.
Yeah.
And the tragedies are the same thing. It's based on somebody's expense. Somebody had to have a negative experience for that to be a good story to tell, because it's impactful. It teaches you some kind of a lesson or what have you. So outside of that, as a content creator, or even as somebody who wants to remember great stories about the game I'm playing, I want these great stories to be based around like even a baddie murder hobo running around killing everybody and the entire guild got together and hunted this punk down and made them rage quit the game, which, I mean, maybe not that. I don't want anybody to really rage quit the game, even the baddies. But made them like, no bully. But make them at least quit what they're doing and get them in line. And hey, that's a good story. There was somebody going around like slaughtering all the newbies, and we took care of him, and now there's justice, and he doesn't pick on people anymore.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. That's a great story to tell and have to tell.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't happen if open world PvP weren't a thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think it'd be interesting to see what Steven has to offer as far as lore, if he does end up at least like, here's the reason why open world PvP, helps out with the lore, etc.
Which one's a story that'd make you quit playing? If you were a murder hobo and somebody hunted you down as a guild? Sorry, go ahead there, Frosty, while he's responding.
I was just gonna say, like, I really like the way you said that, because I mean, they could easily tie it in. Just thinking about it now, based on what you said, they could easily tie it in on how conflicts work and all that other stuff, and how PvP really does fit into the world. And based on that, I mean, like I said before, we tell our own stories, basically just what you said. And going through this, we make our own story based on those moments and those conflicts that do happen, like those siege battles with your guild or anything else, or those small little moments of like, you send a guy flying after defeating him or something like that. or like, there's so many stories that can be told throughout a game through these different conflicts with PvP, and having an open world PvP game like this is just what we need for an MMO, and Intrepid's about to create it, and that's an exciting thing to see.
Yeah.
Just going based off of like the core things, like we have like the green, the purple, the red for colorization of knowing who's the good, who's the bad, and all that stuff. And we'll get to know as we create our stories those things of like, hey, there's that guy in red, he's the PK or whatever, and we have to go after him, kind of thing, because he's the baddie. And I remember him killing me before, I have to go after him, kind of thing, just to get back at him or something like that, right?
I
Things
must
like that,
take
right?
revenge.
So there's many avenues, different ways and branches of a story to tell, and PvP is going to be a great one, and I think it's going to be great for all of us as we tell our own.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, again, as if you guys end up, going through the Discord conversation, there's a lot of good points, and some of them said like it would be really interesting to see a naturally created PvE server where people just kind of naturally gravitated towards, I don't really want to fight you, I'm more interested in fighting like the other people outside of, hey, let's do a caravan attack, like that's a planned thing, and
or if they were literally like some people who were all about like a peaceful life, but they were also really good at PvP.
Yeah.
So then they're the ones who are like enforcing the laws of the land, so to say.
Yeah, right.
Like, no, don't be a jerk. We're gonna hunt you down.
It'd be interesting to see like these different servers, PvP versus PvE. What kind of stories will those PvE players tell? And when going through, will they decide to like, hey, I'm gonna eventually switch servers, kind of like what you're saying about like, I feel like, it's kind of boring to just stick PvE, and then all of a sudden, like, I feel like some adrenaline going on here. I want to start playing against some other players, make my experience a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's where PvP comes in. I like it.
I think for me, my closing thoughts on like the whole discussion here was just like, I'm not really good at PvP. I actually, Vertec has been trying to help me with 7 Deadly Sins and the PvP match there, and I already get salty with that just because I hate PvP so much. But I'm willing to give it a try. I'm willing to see how it works with this. You know, I'm willing to see how open world PvP plays out. If I don't fight back, are you going to respect my not interested in fighting you, or are you gonna just go ahead and gank me and then take my stuff that I drop and then just be about your day? And then there's the repeated gankers who just for the fun of it, you know, which honestly is I think what makes most of us hate PvP, that don't like it as much. Just like that constant I'm alive, nope, just kidding, he killed me again.
Yeah, and like just to kind of bootleg off of that real quick, to add a side point on it, is even those who love PvP usually, and I'm just saying usually, don't like being ganked either.
Yeah.
Some of them, sure, they thrive off the adrenaline rush of maybe I can run away and hide because I'm too low a level and they're overpowered and they're just going to kill me. But most people are like, expletive deletive. And that's because they're on a low-level character trying to level, or they're on a crafter that's not even equipped with any kind of battle gear at all. And somebody who is equipped with battle gear because they're looking for a fight comes along and is going to trash them no matter how good they are.
Yeah.
The true ganking, a lot of real like core PvP people, like I said, a lot of, because some are still kind of like, yeah, gank the world. But, you know, a lot of them are even against ganking. So
yeah.
There is that. The large majority of PvP people that I know of don't appreciate people that go around ganking.
Yeah.
Just a side note off that too is that if I remember reading correctly, I believe that for players that are more geared towards PvP, I think there's some kind of special icon or something like that, if I remember correctly, that it will display what kind of gear stats and stuff like that. And you can see it from a distance too, your gear stats. And you can tell like, yeah, this guy is geared more towards PvP, I think, if I remember correctly reading that. So
yeah,
especially for those that want to play PvP, they'll know, yeah, this guy's ready for PvP. I'm going to go after him kind of thing.
Yeah.
Things like that.
That would be cool too. Also, just the whole, I like that Ashes is kind of doing the one gear thing, which is interesting to me because what you would need in a PvE environment versus a PvP environment is totally different. However, if you are open world with open dungeon, that PvP aspected gear or like the single use gear comes really handy if you are used to like building it up and stuff, because now you're kind of more equipped to deal with somebody trying to like take you out while you're trying to take out the boss, because there's not like that specific PvP gear that person would have had, where it's more geared towards like hitting harder, etc., versus resistance and stuff like that. I think it'll be super interesting. I agree with Crits. I like respectful PvP gameplay. Perhaps Ashes might be the one game that changes my opinion on PvP, because I mean, I personally base my experiences off of like World of Warcraft when I was just trying to go through the outlands and people just like, yeah, it's a noob, kill him millions of times, you know, and then I just get frustrated and log off the game for a few hours because I can't literally go anywhere. Like I don't have time to hearth. Like
yeah, and honestly, the chat, things going on in chat right now bring up another point, by the way.
Yeah.
So Tay basically says the PvE is stagnation. Once everything's built out and people are exploring the dungeons and all this and that, but they still refuse to PvP, but they've done all the things that are currently there, the server is basically going to be in a state of not progressing anywhere. New things are not going to open up. Diggs contradicted that or brought up a contrary point, because saying PvE does not necessarily equal stagnation. Coordinated PvP means the server working together can choose which nodes they want to destroy or build up. But I have a counter to that counterpoint, which is that is specifically the way that a PvE, a player instilled PvE server, can turn into a PvP server in a quick second. because if no agreement is come to where one node is going to get destroyed, or that node specifically gets outvoted and everybody destroys theirs, suddenly you're going to have a lot of people who are unhappy about their node that just got destroyed because they didn't want it to be destroyed, because they had all this in node housing and they had a perfect system set up. It was a well-oiled machine. It could very well have been the best running node out of all of them, providing the most value to the world, but they just got outvoted.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're going to be out for blood to just destroy the other nodes. If we can't have it, you can't either.
Yeah. That
could very well devolve into just a complete bloodbath. So even ideal systems can fail. So it'd be I'm actually legitimately curious and hopeful to see something like that really work out, because it'd be something that I have not experienced or heard of actually happening before.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those are really, really good points. Real quick, feel free to go ahead and chat on about other things, but I wanted to mention, obviously you guys see the cosmetics up on the screen. Let me just put the official cosmetic list. By the way, I just want to say I really love the accessory on this. It's really cool.
The shoulder
There's
piece.
a skull. Yeah, it's very, again, we don't have druids in this game, but it feels very druidic. I love it. But yeah, so they are going back to offering new cosmetics. So the red ones that you saw last time are officially going out of shop on, let's see, the 15th, I think it said. So if you want those the red cosmetic set with a scary wolf and human eating ship.
So soon? It's like we didn't even have time to react and maybe buy them. Jeez.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting situation because they did say they were holding off with the whole pandemic situation, but there's some places opening up earlier than others. Others are re-shutting down slightly. Like, it's all a mess right now.
It really is, yeah.
I think it might be kind of cool if they could offer them both simultaneously. Like, just, I don't know, as a side thought, I don't really mind either way. I'm more into the new set myself, but just for the people that are still maybe hoping to save up money. I mean, we're grateful enough, or lucky enough, I guess, and super grateful for it that we're able to stay balanced and everything here, but we still don't have much, if any, spending money outside of bills and stuff ourselves personally. But we're in a much better situation than a lot of people are with having lost like houses and stuff, and our hearts definitely go out to those people. But yeah, not trying to take this down a sad route, sorry, but just saying, it was a little unexpected to see the new cosmetics, but you know, I'm pretty happy to see that there are new cosmetics in general.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing where like I kind of wish, because I looked at some of the previous cosmetics and I wish I had that cosmetic from like the previous packaging from a previous month, and I may not ever get to see that again. Maybe down the line they'll make like some kind of hashed version of that down the road, but it's like it looks so rich and so good that I wish I could, like for example, the red ones, once they're gone, those ones looked pretty good to me personally, and I have it currently, but for some other people, like you said, like it'd be nice if you could somewhere down the road actually be able to get those, even though they're gone.
Yeah, me, I'm in that situation where I wanted to see new cosmetics. I wasn't ready to have to buy new cosmetics. I was really hoping we'd get like another month or two out of it to kind of dig back out of what's going on with just the situation. But hey, yeah. That being said, I'm not going to be a total downer because, I mean, they at least paused for a couple months, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
They gave people a good break. And
Wood Chip says you could always have Z make them if you missed them.
Hey, there you go.
I mean, she did make this lovely one up here on screen. I really like it. It's super adorable. Somebody actually commented and was like, so when is your merchandise going to be up for sale?
Get mass manufacturing.
Right. I really love the detailing
adorable.
On the, like, even the celestial, like, stars and everything on the side.
I love that.
really good detailing. I'm kind of blown away, to be honest, by it. But yeah, I was gonna totally say something. Oh yeah, my only slight critique with Intrepid Studios and the cosmetics is maybe let us see maybe a longer window from when we can get the new cosmetics and the old cosmetics, just slightly. Just because I know there's a lot of people that wait to see what the new cosmetics are before being able to choose between, do I get the new one or do I get the old one? You know? So it just, I know that that's me, like, ah man, I should have waited and gotten this one because like my funds are limited, you know. Granted, there is like that small window there where you're like, okay, do I decide now or not, you know? But
you know what would be cool is if they decided to do a rotation system where they bring in those cosmetics again throughout the year, and then they take it away, then they bring in those cosmetics again and continue the cycle. That'd be kind of interesting.
that would be, I think it would definitely go against what they said of like, it'll never be available again. I mean, maybe a different variation of it might be, but like, it'll never be available again. Aw, see, you fell asleep. That's what you get for watching on your bed. It's too comfortable. Can't have that.
I've been talking about you and talking to you this whole time. You missed it all.
Geez.
Yeah. You like showcased an awesome piece of yours.
I mean, you won the sweepstakes too, and now because you weren't there, it just got avoided, so nobody else can win.
Zip.
We can't even tell you what the sweepstakes was.
Nope. All right. Well, is there anything either of you wanted to cover as we wrap things up here? We did go a little over, so I apologize, but thank you for giving us your extra time. Not really?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Thanks.
We had a really good discussion.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And sorry, I was reading Fupo Hunters.
Me too.
Sam Guess. It totally just caught like right out of the corner of my eye. I zoomed in on it.
Because the caps lock does that every time. For a second, it looked like on purpose, like the Reddit things, like horrible human leaves pup in frozen tundra to die or something.
But yeah. Thank you everybody for stopping by. Frosty, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely.
For longer than the hour expected.
Yeah. Definitely want to say thank you to Spoken, Fupo, Chip. Chip, thank you so much for the love. Crits for the bits. Thank you so much.
Crits for the bits.
We really appreciate all the support and love you give this community. And honestly, our second half of the show wouldn't have happened if Woodchip hadn't watched Simurg's podcast and then brought up the questions. Like, so please, by all means, go look at the other content creators, bring questions, raise those questions, raise those thoughts, see what other people think. You know, we love that totally. Like, we love being a part of it. We love watching it. Like, this is what we're here for.
And also, if you're not watching them, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Some good quality stuff going on. Speaking of which, tomorrow, Madam Chibi won't be able to make it. However, I'll be over on the discussion round with BCG and company.
I have schoolwork.
So feel free to tune in. Check us out about, 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific. 9 CEST, though I'm not sure what CEST is. All I know is it's over in the other side of the pond, as they say.
My mind went Central Eastern Time, question mark?
Yeah, it's noon. Yeah, Central Eastern Time. It's that line right between them. But yeah,
yes.
It's noon Pacific, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe he streams on both Twitch
that
and
makes
YouTube.
more sense. Central European summertime. That makes okay. Yeah. Yeah, hey,
Does
Free
make
Spirit.
sense.
But yeah, so
German time.
feel free to go check out them tomorrow. We retweeted Simurg's podcast, so go check out that link. I think he has it on YouTube now, Simurg. I think
he does.
But yes, go
I
check.
remember watching.
Go watch the things.
Definitely check out Jalan's video with Steven on there.
Yes.
It's worth a watch. We covered a lot of the really interesting points to us, but there are still some other things that we've discussed.
And last but not least, go give Frosty Coffee a follow because he's awesome. And thank you again for being our guest, and hope to have you on again sometime.
Heck yeah.
Yep. Much love. Hashtag Ashes fam. Ash creation
Thank you
love.
everybody for your time and your support. We love you.
And we'll see you next time.